Have you ever met someone who talks a lot about their goals? They say they'll start a business, change their habits, get in shape, write a book, or learn something new. They speak with excitement, tell everyone around them, even post it on social media. For a moment, it feels like they've already achieved something. People comment, react, support, and praise. But months pass, and nothing happens. The business doesn't start, the book doesn't get written, and nothing really changes. The only thing that remains is the memory of what was once said. This is not rare. In fact, it's happening all around us, every day. We live in a time where speaking about our plans gives us a temporary feeling of progress. It tricks the mind. The brain gets a taste of success just by imagining the future, and the praise from others makes it even more real. It's like eating sugar when you're hungry. It feels good in the moment, but it's not real fuel. And the more we talk, the more we burn the fire that's supposed to drive us forward. Every word we say about our plan is like letting air out of a balloon. Slowly, the pressure that was supposed to push us forward fades away. There is a reason why high achievers, the ones who truly make an impact, rarely speak about their moves in advance. They don't waste time explaining. They don't go around proving themselves before they've done anything. They understand that real progress happens in silence. It happens in early mornings when no one is watching. It happens during those long, boring hours when motivation is gone and discipline takes over. They don't need the world's approval to get started. They move quietly, let their work grow in the dark, and then one day, the world sees the result, and it speaks louder than any words ever could. There is power in silence. Not because silence is mysterious, but because silence protects the process. When you're building something important, the last thing you need is outside noise. Most people don't understand your vision. If you share your ideas too soon, they'll often respond with doubt or fear. Not always because they want to bring you down, but because they're looking at your dream through the lens of their own limitations. Someone might say, "That's too hard," or "What if you fail?" And suddenly you start questioning yourself. Those doubts weren't yours, but now they live in your mind. This is why high achievers protect their energy. They know energy is limited. Every conversation about what you might do takes away some of that energy. Think about it. How many times have you told someone about a goal and then felt like you already did something, even though you didn't take a single real step? That's the illusion. Talking feels productive, but it's not. Doing the work, showing up consistently, taking real steps, that's where the progress lives. And that's what separates the talkers from the doers. There's also something else, momentum. When you start a new habit or project, there's a certain energy, a rhythm that begins to build. If you protect that momentum and feed it with consistent action, it grows. But the moment you start announcing your plan to the world, that rhythm breaks. It's like opening the oven door before the cake is done baking. It releases the heat, and suddenly what could have been something great starts to fall apart. You need to guard that heat. Keep it locked in until it's ready. Some of the most successful people in history worked in complete silence for years. Their names only became known after the results were undeniable. They didn't explain every step. They didn't ask for permission. They didn't wait for applause. They just kept going. Not because they were lucky, but because they understood something others didn't. The more you talk, the less you do. And the less you do, the more ordinary your life becomes. But this isn't about hiding forever. It's about timing. There's a time to build and a time to share. There's a time to stay quiet and a time to let the world see. The key is to know the difference. When you're still learning, still growing, still struggling to stay on track, that's the time to stay silent. That's the time to protect your dream like a fragile plant. Talk too much and you expose it to the wind. Let it grow roots first. Then, when it's strong enough, you won't need to say anything. The results will speak for you. It's okay to have big dreams. In fact, you should. But if you want to bring them to life, stop announcing them. Stop trying to impress others with your intentions. Stop thinking that saying it out loud will make it more real. Instead, write it down for yourself. Set your targets. Create a plan. Then start. Quietly. Without the pressure of performance. Without the noise of opinions. Just you and the work. That's where greatness begins. And when things get hard, and they will, you'll be glad you kept quiet. Because the pressure will be on your shoulders only. You won't have to worry about what others think. You won't feel like you're failing in public. You'll be free to fall, learn, adjust, and rise again. That's how real growth happens. In private, not on a stage. So the next time you feel like sharing your dream with someone, pause. Ask yourself, am I sharing this for support or for attention? Am I ready to execute? Or am I just chasing the feeling of progress? Most of the time, you'll realize that what you need is not applause, it's action. Some people confuse silence with weakness. They think if you're not constantly promoting yourself or speaking about your goals, then you must not be doing anything important. But the truth is, the most dangerous people are often the quietest ones. They are not wasting time talking. They are planning, preparing, and building. When they finally show what they've been working on, it's already too late for anyone to doubt them. Their results are undeniable. And that's the power of doing more and speaking less. It's not about hiding. It's about protecting your process and focusing your energy where it actually matters. In a world that's loud and noisy, where everyone wants to be seen and heard, silence becomes your secret weapon. It gives you the space to grow without judgment, to fail without shame, and to rise again without the pressure of explaining yourself. Every hour you spend talking is an hour you didn't spend doing. Every conversation you have about what you plan to do is a moment where energy could have gone into the actual steps. And while the world loves big talkers for a moment, it respects results forever. That's why high achievers choose a different path. They don't chase attention. They chase mastery. Doing more means showing up when it's uncomfortable, working when you don't feel like it, and staying consistent even when no one is clapping for you. It means doing the boring stuff that no one sees, the small habits, the quiet sacrifices, the daily grind. High achievers understand that success is not one big moment. It's the result of hundreds of small decisions made in silence. The decision to wake up early. The decision to stay late. The decision to practice when no one's watching. These aren't the moments people write about or post online. But these are the moments that define the outcome. Everyone wants the reward, but few are willing to embrace the silence that comes before it. That's where the real growth happens. Not when people are watching, but when you're alone with your thoughts, your work, and your mission. That's when you become the kind of person who not only dreams big, but actually delivers. Some people ask, what's the harm in sharing? Doesn't it help to tell others so they can support you? In some cases, yes. But more often, it becomes a trap. When you speak too soon, you open the door to doubt, both from others and from within yourself. Even well-meaning people might question your plans, and those questions can stick in your mind. Over time, those questions turn into hesitation, and hesitation kills momentum. You start thinking instead of doing. You begin to wait for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect approval. But high achievers don't wait. They move. They test. They fail. They adjust. And most importantly, they keep going. They don't need to explain their process. They just let the outcome speak for itself. It's not that they never talk. It's that they choose their moments wisely. They talk when the work is done, not when it's just an idea. They share their story once there's something to show. And when they speak, people listen, not because they're loud, but because they've earned it. The work gives weight to their words. That's the difference. When you do more than you say, people trust you. When you say more than you do, people eventually stop listening. That's why the best strategy is to stay silent while you build. Let your actions create the story, not your words. Let the results create the impact, not your promises. Another reason silence is so powerful is because it keeps you connected to your purpose. When you don't have to perform for others, you stay focused on what really matters to you. You're not influenced by likes, comments, or applause. You don't lose sight of the goal. You're not building for validation. You're building for meaning. And that kind of work is stronger. It lasts longer. It's not shaken by opinions or failure. It's deeply rooted in who you are and what you believe in. That's what makes it unstoppable. In today's world, where everything is public, private progress is a rare and valuable thing. You don't have to share everything you're doing. You don't need to prove your hustle to anyone. The only person who needs to know your effort is you. And that's enough. You are the one who will live the results. You are the one who will benefit from the growth. So why give that power away for temporary praise? Why trade long-term success for short-term attention? You don't need the world to know what you're doing until you're ready to show it. And when you are, your results will speak louder than anything you could have said. This mindset isn't always easy. In fact, it can feel lonely at times. While others are getting attention, you're grinding in silence. While others are getting praise for plans, you're still deep in the process. But that's where the edge lies. That's where real advantage is created. The quiet moments where you're out of sight but growing. The late nights where no one sees, but you're making progress. The early mornings where you choose to work over comfort. These are the moments that most people skip. But high achievers don't skip them, they live in them. They use them. They build in them. And eventually, those hidden hours turn into public victories. It all comes back to one simple truth. What you do matters more than what you say. No one will remember the big promises. They'll remember the big results. No one will talk about what you plan to do. They'll talk about what you actually did. So make the doing your focus. Let the silence be your strength. Let the work be your voice. Speak less. Do more. That's the path of the high achiever. That's the secret that isn't really a secret. It's just not loud. And maybe that's what makes it so powerful. There is a quiet kind of confidence that grows when you commit to action without the need for recognition. It is the kind of confidence that comes not from what you say you'll do, but from what you've already done behind closed doors. It's not loud, it's not flashy, and it doesn't seek approval. It's the kind of confidence that allows you to walk into a room and not have to prove anything because your results speak louder than your presence. High achievers understand this. They know that the real reward is not the applause but the progress, the inner growth, the private satisfaction that comes from knowing you didn't give up when it was hard, you didn't quit when no one was watching, and you didn't need the world to believe in you before you believed in yourself. You kept moving forward, even when no one knew your name. That kind of journey builds strength that can't be shaken by failure or fame. It builds discipline, self-respect, and clarity. And in the end, those qualities are worth more than any temporary praise. What happens when you make silence your strategy is that your mindset begins to shift. You stop chasing external rewards and start focusing on internal standards. You no longer ask, will people be impressed by this? And instead ask, is this the right move for my growth? You stop trying to convince others and start building proof through action. This shift may seem small, but it changes everything. It gives you back your power. You are no longer building for the sake of attention. You are building because it matters. Because it aligns with your vision. Because it's part of your mission. And once that mission becomes your focus, distractions fall away. The noise, the doubts, the fear of failure, they lose their grip on you because your purpose becomes louder than all of it. That's the true strength of doing more and speaking less. It clears the path. It keeps you grounded. It reminds you that you're not here to entertain. You're here to grow, to improve, to reach higher, and to leave something real behind. Sometimes the silence isn't just about protecting your energy or momentum, it's about protecting your belief. Every big dream begins as a small, quiet idea inside your mind. And like a small flame, it's fragile. Expose it to too much wind too early, and it goes out. That's what happens when you speak too soon. You allow the world to blow on your dream before it's strong enough to survive the breeze. The more you talk about what you haven't done yet, the more vulnerable your dream becomes. But when you keep it close, when you nurture it in silence, it grows. Slowly, steadily, it begins to shape your actions. It begins to transform you. And one day, that small, quiet idea becomes a reality that others can't ignore. But by then, it's no longer just an idea. It's something you've built, with your own hands, on your own terms. That's a feeling words can't match. There will always be people who don't understand this way of thinking. They'll say, why don't you share more? Why don't you talk about your journey? And maybe one day, you will. But not for attention. Not for approval. You'll share because you've learned something valuable, something worth passing on. You'll speak from a place of experience, not intention. From a place of results, not dreams. And when you do, your words will carry weight, not because they're loud, but because they're backed by real-life action. That's the kind of speech that changes people. That's the kind of story that inspires. Not the story of what you plan to do, but the story of what you actually did when no one was watching. The world is full of noise, loud voices, constant updates, endless promises. But in the middle of all that, there's something powerful about someone who just puts their head down and works. Someone who doesn't try to prove anything but instead lets time do the talking. Someone who shows up, day after day, without needing applause. That person stands out, not because they demand attention, but because they earn respect. Their silence becomes a symbol of strength. Their results become their voice. That's what high achievement looks like. Not a public journey full of talk, but a private one full of effort, persistence, and patience. When you look back on your journey one day, you won't remember the times you impressed others with your plans. You'll remember the mornings you got up early, the nights you stayed focused, and the moments you almost gave up but didn't. You'll remember the work, not the words. You'll remember the times you stayed silent because the goal was more important than the attention. And those memories will mean more than any applause you could have received along the way. They will be the evidence of your growth, the proof of your discipline, and the legacy of your determination. So the next time you feel the need to speak about your goals, stop and ask yourself, what am I really looking for? Do I want support or do I want praise? Am I ready to act or am I still dreaming? Let those questions guide you. Let them remind you that your energy is precious, your vision is fragile, and your time is valuable. Don't waste them on empty talk. Use them to build something real. Speak less. Do more. Let your silence become your strength and your work become your voice. That is the secret of high achievers. That is the mindset that changes lives. And that is the path to building something that truly lasts, not just in words, but in action, results, and legacy.